This time I will call the Walton County Planning Commission meeting to order. Excuse me. At this time, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. If you will stand, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Prater, will you please bless us with prayer, please?
I will. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight to consider the business of our county and the things that are going on here. We pray that we'll consider all things and make the right decisions for the best of all of our citizens of this community. We thank you for the opportunity to serve, and we pray that may all things we do be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Roll call. Note that Mr. Tim Hinton and Wesley Sisk are absent. All other members are present. Members on the roll call, also you've had an opportunity to look over the minutes from November 2nd. If you have had that opportunity, do you see any changes or amendments to this? If not, at this time I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as published.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Old business. We have a case that's coming back up before us here. Case Z2310006. This is rezoned 2.4 acres from A2 to B3 truck parking / laydown lot and outside storage. The applicant, Richard Wade, owner. Ronald Ramage, located on 2384 Highway 278. Who's here to speak on behalf of this case? And please note that if you are here to present a case, please step to the mic and state your name, please, and present your case.
So the applicant called the office and, excuse me, is not able to attend. As you said, what he wants to do is a parking laydown lot. The site plan of this 2.40 acres shows 37 tractor trailer parking spaces. And it'll be up to you guys, you know, if you want to go ahead and vote on it, go ahead and listen to any opposition that may be here. But that's basically what he wants to do.
Anyone here to oppose?
He's got one. You got one.
Yes, sir. Will you step up to the mic and state your case, please, sir?
I move slowly, I'm sorry.
Okay.
All good. I'm in the same boat that you are. So.
My name is James Evans, and I live in Social Circle. I was here last month. The applicant did not show up. Waste of y'all's time, my time, everybody's time. I hate it that he didn't show up again. I'll speak for the folks that were unable to get here tonight. I know I have 10 minutes and it won't take nearly that long. This is a residential area, and to think to put a truck laydown lot is unbelievable. I can't believe this is even being considered. Highway 278 is a 2-lane road, heavily traveled. There's already 18-wheelers going to and from General Mills and Dart. That's 80,000 pounds, fully loaded, going up and down a 2-lane road. As I said, this is a residential area. The problem that's going to exist is that this land, I don't have a pointer, is on a curve with 2 hills, limited line of sight. So if there were trucks that would be coming out of the laydown lot or any vehicle coming out, they're already a fair game target for traffic on 278. Without going into any further detail, I guess, other than the fact that residential area and putting in a business type opportunity is not something that is conducive for this area. I don't know if this is an appropriate time to bring this up, but let me, because I still have my 10 minutes. or whatever's left. This particular property, I went to code enforcement, and back on the 18th of August, and approximately 3:36 in the afternoon, I spoke with Josh Profit. This area, this lot is derelict. It's been that way for a long time. Kudzu has totally overgrown it. There's abandoned vehicles, there's appliances, there's trash in addition to the house. Something needs to be done about that. I was hoping that the owner or somebody would be here tonight so I could personally talk to him, but that needs to be put in the record too. Please deny this rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Is there anyone else? If not, I'll bring it back to the board for a recommendation.
Do y'all have any questions on it, further questions?
Sir.
Are there any further questions on it from the board?
Oh, from the board. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm getting the
That
rust
is
off,
okay.
right?
That is okay.
Any
If
questions
there-
from the board concerning this case?
I don't have any.
If there are no further questions, I will make the motion to recommend denial of the request to rezone this parcel in case number Z231-00006.
I second it.
Motion have been properly made and second. Any in favor, all in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. This case will go on, still go on to the board meeting in January, right, Ms. Parker? So, Mr. Evans, we're denying the case. New business. Case CU 231-00017, conditional use on 10 acres for a solid waste transfer station. Applicant owner Buddy R. Johnson, DAB Properties LLC, located at 898 Adamson Drive. Who's here to speak on behalf of this case? Would please step to the mic and present your case.
Good evening. I'm Andrea Gray, and this evening I'm representing DAB Properties LLC and their request for a conditional use permit for a solid waste transfer station at 898 Adamson Drive. Here's a map of the location of the property. It's a 10-acre parcel. It's to the south of Vine Street. It fronts on two sides of Adamson Street, and it's just west of Highway 11. Here's a little closer view of it. Here you can see the zoning. On this map, it's labeled as I-1, which I think under your current zoning ordinance is actually M1. But it's in the middle of an industrial park. It's surrounded on every side by other properties in industrial use, including plastics manufacturing plant, concrete manufacturing, an inert landfill. So it is very much an appropriate use for this area. The proposed use, again, is a solid waste transfer station, and it's specifically to service Southern Sanitation. Southern Sanitation has been servicing Walton County residents for 22 years, and they are looking to do their own transfer station rather than using, excuse me, the City of Monroe's or others. The operation includes receiving trash, sorting it into recyclables and waste that would go to a landfill, and then hauling it off from there. Here's a depiction of the site plan, and you'll see that the main site of the operations is a 19,000 square foot building, and that's concentrated right in the center of the site. Operations also include an office and a scale, so you will see at the bottom of the screen there's an entry, so trucks will enter through that entrance off of Adamson Drive, be weighed, drop the trash in the facility, and then exit out through the other side of Adamson Drive. You'll see here also on the site plan, again, this is 10 acres. So the site includes 100-foot buffers on the northern boundary, the eastern boundary, and on the western boundary. On the side, the front onto Adamson Drive, it's a 50-foot buffer, but it also includes a 3-foot berm, which is required under your ordinance. All total, there's only about 36% of the site being utilized. The rest will be, will be pervious surfaces. And here again, we show a septic drain field area and a stormwater management area. And again, this is very conceptual plan at this stage as we're asking for approval of the use. When we go to actually get permits and to build, of course, we'll work through the planning department to work through all those details and also work through EPD for the permits that will be needed there. The site location and site plan are such that they mitigate any potential impacts. Again, it's located in the very center of an industrial park. If not there, where would you put this type of facility? The operations of the site are concentrated in the very center. Again, 100-foot buffers on 3 sides, 50-foot on the other. And then, of course, where it's located is perfect for access to the new bypass. It's right there near where it connects to Highway 11, which will allow easy access for trucks and to keep the trucks out of the city. Our operations will also help mitigate any impacts from the operation of the facility. We have reduced operating hours. It's not a 24/7 operation. We'll be completely closed on Sunday. They get an early start in the morning, but they wrap up by 6 p.m. Every day. And again, it's consistent with other industrial uses in which it's centered around in that park. They will clean the floors every day per EPD regulations. All trash handling operations will occur inside the building. The building itself will have 3 permanent sides, and then the 4th side will have roll-up doors. So when operations are not ongoing, they can close the doors. And again, all operations will be done inside that building. My client will also install a misting system within the building, which will help with any odors produced by the trash. And then we got a comment letter from the City of Monroe about the leach runoff, and there will be a storage tank that will store that runoff, and that's permitted through EPD, and we will work with them to make sure that that is installed correctly. When the tank is full, like any septic type tank, it would be pumped out and taken to an appropriate water treatment plant site. As I mentioned before, we did get a letter from the City of Monroe and just wanted to address a couple of the concerns that were expressed in that letter. One concern they expressed was whether there would be any impacts to the City of Monroe's Cy Nunley Memorial Airport. You see a map here. The airport, even as the crow flies, is just over a mile away from our site. Our building is not particularly tall. There are many taller buildings and taller trees between our site and the airport, so we're not expecting any issues with regard to that. The city mentioned concerns regarding potentially attracting birds or things that might cause danger to the airport fly path, which is not, we think, is not a valid concern in our opinion. And that is based on the fact that, again, our building will be enclosed and they'll have misting systems, and based on examples that we've seen on other airports in the area. So here's a depiction of the Gwinnett County Airport, which has its own solid waste transfer station, 2,400, so about half a mile from its runway. It's a 3-sided building, and so trash operations are not enclosed as ours will be. And clearly, this is not interfering with the operation of the Gwinnett County Airport. Similarly, we have the Peachtree DeKalb Airport, which has a transfer station only 1,200 feet away from its runway. And again, it's a 3-sided transfer station, and you can see, trash coming outside of its boundaries, which would not be happening on our transfer station. And again, it's not interfering with operations at the Peachtree DeKalb Airport. The city also expressed concerns about truck traffic coming through the city, and this new transfer station will actually help alleviate any potential truck traffic through the city. For one, the trucks will be able to use the Monroe bypass, which again is very close to where our property is located. Currently, some of our trucks do go to the Monroe Cherry Hill transfer station, and so this would eliminate the need for that, which would eliminate additional truck traffic on city streets. With regard to the county, the truck routes that are currently happening, because they've been servicing Walton County residents for 22 years, will continue, but the tractor trailers leaving the site will be able to access the bypass. So again, our request tonight is to approve the conditional use permit for the operation of a solid waste transfer station. We're not asking for rezoning, one is not required. We're not asking for a character area change because one is not required. And we're not asking for any variances from any of your ordinances. And again, EPD will be doing the regulation of the operation. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I've got one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it says there, a solid waste transfer station to service Southern Sanitation, so they're the only ones that will dump there?
For now, yes.
So they're looking to attract more dumping from other agencies or local?
They're looking to service their own operations.
Their own
Now they're
operation.
having to go to other transfer stations.
So they would be the only ones dumping there.
That's the intent for now, yes.
So that would be, you would agree to that?
As a condition that it would only be used by,
I mean, that's what it says. That's what I was wondering.
right, that is the intent of the construction. I have to look to my client to see if he's willing to agree to that condition.
So solid sanitation been the only user period?
Needs to get over there.
Yes, sir, sorry.
State your name for me, please, so I can put this on record.
Good evening. Hey, I'm Buddy Johnson, owner of Southern Sanitation, Dab Properties. Okay, if I understand your question correctly, you want to know from now on if Southern Sanitation will be the only company to dump inside this transfer station?
I'm just asking what it says up there.
I mean, to start with, yes, it will be my company. Now, Walton County is a growing county. I mean, you got Peach State that runs in Walton County. I mean, if Ron over there at Peach State, I know Ron, we got a great relationship. If he says, hey, buddy, you got a transfer station, you mind if I come dump in it? Certainly. I mean, if another company moves in, certainly. I mean, it's all about making it more efficient.
Right.
It's centrally located. The trash and the recycle from this transfer station will reach its final destination from here. So it keeps a less number of trucks in operation in Walton County, because if you didn't have, the transfer station, and all the trucks had to go to another county, which is where the trash and recycle has to go, you're going to have more trucks on the road trying to get it all up. So it's, as far as the county should be concerned, it's environmentally, it's a good idea. And it's keep less trucks on the roads.
How many trucks are we talking about?
As far as, all right, so we run 21 trucks
Okay.
right now. Now we got, as far as tractor trailers leaving this transfer station, you're probably looking at maybe 6 or 7 a day. So we dump in there, load up the tractor trailers, they leave out, going, hauling the waste or the recycle to its final resting point.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like, how many loads do you think would come in, or you have no idea? Or, I mean, I know your trucks will come in, but once, if you opened it up to everybody else, what could you handle, or what do you think?
I mean, with this transfer station, I understand y'all already approved one for Garrett out there. So with those two, I mean, it'll be a long time coming before you ever have to approve another one. Gwinnett County right now has got, I know of 5, maybe, is it 5 or 6 in operation right now in Gwinnett County? Of course, Gwinnett County is a lot larger than Walton County, but the Walton County is growing. So, if you want to try to keep the truck minimum, and, Walton County does not have an operating landfill. So it has to leave the county. It's got to go to another county. And that's the most economical way to do it.
Any more questions from the board?
I agree that I think the location where the bypass comes in will keep a lot of traffic out of town. I think that's the location is good. Speak to us a moment about, the only concern I've heard or opposition I've heard is smell, trash smells. Talk to us about the misting system that you're putting in and
Okay.
how that filtration system works.
All right, compared to most transfer stations, just like the ones that Andrea had up here, look at the one at Peach Street DeKalb, right there. If you notice the north and south, those are open walls there, and they've got it running out. So my proposal is to be a good neighbor, be a good citizen. I live in Walton County, my family lives in Walton County. It's a family-run business. You know, our proposal is 3 sides solid. The side where we back in to dump our recycle or our solid waste, there'll be 3 sections with 3 roll-up doors. There'll be no trash rolling outside the building whatsoever. In the evening time, the doors will be shut. No trash outside whatsoever. We're going to install Boss Tech misting systems. It controls the odor. There'll be fans installed with high carbon filters on it to help with dust and odors. We'll do everything we can do. That's all you can do.
So we'll be carbon filtrated then?
Correct.
Okay.
We're going to go above and beyond what 99% of transfer stations you see out there, how they operate. We're going to do it the right way.
Thank you.
What about the outside of that, the facade outside as far as paving, et cetera? Because I noticed also that the road leading up there's gravel.
There's a section that is gravel, you're correct.
Right. Okay.
Both sides of that gravel is paved road, so why that one section is gravel, that's beyond me. But
Pretty rough ride. Any other questions from the board?
Do you have to weigh your own trash as it comes in?
yeah, we'll weigh the trucks, we'll weigh the amount of trash. Because see, we still have to dump it with the big boys. We don't own a landfill. So we're going to stay on top of how much we're bringing in and what we're going out and what we got to pay to get rid of.
You say the big boys. Who are the big boys?
Hopefully us one day.
I see your trucks running all around here. Any more questions from the board?
Not
Are you
good.
going to be handling glass also?
No, sir.
Oh, no glass.
No glass. Glass has been out of the recycle stream for years now. Matter of fact, the only glass handling facility in Georgia, in Atlanta, just filed bankruptcy.
Wow.
So glass is just, it's just been, it's just,
I know Gwinnett
it's
does.
just like any recycle. I mean, recycle, we have to pay to get rid of recycle. Used to, we get paid for recycle. But it's gone south also. So not only do we have to pay to get rid of recycle, we have to pay to get rid of trash, so.
But they still recycle glass up on 81. They have recycle bins up there for glass.
Well, I'll just be honest with you. Now, that place in Atlanta, the only place I'm aware of that you can take glass, be recycled, just filed bankruptcy. So it'll be interesting just to see what happens in the near future.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It's run by the county.
I don't know where they're going to take it, but anyway, we'll find out.
I'll have to ask them sometime.
Any questions from the board?
I'm good.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Ms. Gray?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any opposition? Please step to the mic. If anyone's opposing, you have a 10-minute time limit. So if one person's speaking for the entire group, and someone else is coming, all of that goes into that 10-minute time limit. Anyone opposing?
Get one.
Please step to the mic, sir, and state your name and your case.
So I'm Mark Still. Our family owns the property at 850 Adamson Drive. I think we're one of the older property owners there. Been there since 1997. So we do have a couple of concerns. They've answered several of my concerns about rodents and the smell and some of those other issues. We obviously saw what happened when we allowed the landfills down there on the south end of our county. If you go to Athens on certain days, you better go with some air freshener in your car because you ain't gonna be able to smell. So obviously you've answered some pretty good questions there on that. Some of the other things we do have concerns about, the county's approved, there's 100 acres right outside right there on Vine Street at Adamson Drive. Currently approved, under construction. I'm not even sure how many houses are there. Some of our concerns is people who are going to move into this area. We've approved this property. All this controversy with a transfer station, the smells that comes with that, what is that going to do with those property values? If those property values get diminished, then what are we moving that side of the county or that area to a reduced income properties or something like that? Obviously, one of our major concerns being that we were the only building on Adamson Drive. Since 1997, we've seen 3 concrete companies come. We've seen several other businesses come. Fine and dandy with those. We have no problem fighting or having issues with those. What we haven't seen is any improvement on Adamson Drive. And we've seen our tax base go up. We're paying more and more, but we haven't seen any improvement. During the summer months when the trucks run up down the road, you can't have the doors open in the shop because it fills everything up. If you got, we got classic antique tractors, can't work on those tractors during the summertime. What concerns me the most with this is just being able to be able to enjoy the property. I'm a police officer now after the economy crashed. So most of my week I absolutely hate. So when I get to go down to the shop, I want to be able to enjoy it and not be down there and everything be covered with dust and stuff. So obviously, you know, seeing if this goes through, we're looking for some major improvements on Adamson Drive. You know, the main part's dirt. One of the things of having the Monroe bypass currently, when it goes in, most of the traffic is still going to come down Adamson Drive. My other concern is hearing that we've got 21 trucks and he's going to furnish straight to him. Currently, his trucks are spread out over the county. Now we're bringing them all into a consolidated area off of Vine Street, Breelove, Monroe, Jersey. None of these streets are currently set up to maintain these roads. If you go to Seaboard, where one of his other transfer stations is, where I work, I'm sorry, I'm coming out of a cold, where one of his other stations is, there's Ernst is over there, several concrete company trucking. It's constantly busy. They've got 316. The roads are way better shape than our roads are where this one's going to be, or it's going to be around there. One of our other issues that you've seen Peach State in the last couple of weeks in the Tribune, they keep having fires related to lithium batteries. The only fire station that services us is all the way down in Social Circle. If you remember when the landfill that is no longer caught fire over there, I don't know how many jurisdictions it took to come out here and man that fire for several weeks. I think it smoked and smoldered and kept picking back up and picking back up. So that's another, you know, that's another concern that we see. But, you know, mainly the Adamson Drive, we need to see some major improvement. And does the county actually have on our books now? I think y'all were asking some questions and it makes me concerned. Do we actually have rules and regulations on transfer stations for the county currently? Or are those going to be, okay, we do?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anyone else who was going to speak?
Yeah, anyone else?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, and so like I said, just, you know, some of the issues that we do have is servicing for the roads.
When you talk about the road, Adamson Road, are you talking about the section from Anderson, B.R. Anderson?
Well, that personally for us, yes, that's our main concern. They're concrete trucks, as I said. If you had 21 trucks coming up and down that road now during the summer months, you can't you can't be out in the shop. If you go outside the door, you get covered up with dust. When Thomas is running up and down the trucks, when the recycling is coming, when people are coming off of Adamson, coming off of Vine, when they're doing the road construction, it's constant. And anything in the shop is covered with dust. You can't work on, like I said, we've got classic tractors. You can't have a motor. It destroys motors, destroys transmissions. It's impossible to keep our shop maintained in a way. And obviously, it's an old construction company. But still, when the doors are open, it makes it almost impossible. Like I said, my fears is because of the state of Vine Street, Breedlove, and those others, you're going to force everything off of Highway 11. They're all going to come down Breedlove and, come down Adamson to us on the dirt road part. And we've seen no improvement. Like I said, we've been there since '97. We've seen multiple businesses, tax bases increase in that area. We have not seen any improvement in our area. And that's probably going to be for the commissioners, but making the argument.
There you go. Talk to that commissioner. You said it yourself. Thank you, Mr. Steele. Did anyone have any questions for Mr. Steele from the board? Do y'all care to address?
Can I go back here? All right. Well, appreciate Mr. Steele getting up and speaking, and appreciate your service as a police officer, and just want to hit some of his concerns that he raised. One is, again, I think he mentioned that his concerns about smell were reduced after we talked about the misting system and having all the operations enclosed. So hopefully we've put that concern to rest. He also mentioned on Vine Street, and I've pulled up the map here of the residential subdivision that's actually in the city limits. So that was, I actually helped rezone that through the city, but that is a residential development there. But where this property is located and where all these other industries are located, we're located here first in this industrial area. It was zoned industrial when the developer purchased and rezoned that residential neighborhood across of Vine Street. And so, this use is characteristic of any other industrial use which could have located in this industrial park, some of which may have had more smells, more noise, and more disruption to residential life. So, I think, again, you have to know what you're getting into, and the industrial area was here first. With regard to the improvements to Adamson Drive, of course, we would love for the county to improve Adamson Drive and any roads the county would like to improve, but don't think it absolutely necessary for our operations. Not a decent amount of truck traffic, but not substantial, and the conditions of the road now would service our purposes, but would love to see some improvements there as well. One other concern was mentioned regarding lithium battery fires within trash trucks and the proximity of the nearest fire station, which I don't have it on the map here, but y'all know the fire station just down Highway 11.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yes, sir.
That's city, right?
The city is in the yellow, yes.
So that's not, okay, go ahead.
Right, yeah, so the county has no control over,
Right.
what the uses are in the city. But yes, the fire station just down Highway 11, maybe 2 miles down the road.
A little bit further.
A little bit further than 2 miles, not far at all, and not far back into the city either. But I think this property will be adequately protected by the existing fire services, and not much you can do to prevent people unknowingly putting lithium batteries in their trash. So that's probably just a circumstance beyond our control at this point. With that, I think I've hit on all of his concerns, but if you've come up with any other questions, we'd be happy to answer those as well.
Any more questions from the board for Ms. Gray? No questions? Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I'm going to bring this back to the board for discussion or entertain motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion in the matter of CU 231000017, request for a transfer station. I believe that the property being located in an industrial park is, from a land use standpoint, is an appropriate use. The proposal is an appropriate use. I believe the proximity to the proposed bypass is further additional support of this application. It is for those reasons that I recommend approval with two conditions. One, that the proposed facility be developed in general accordance with the submitted site plans, specifically in regards to the buffers. And the second condition is that approval would be conditioned on those bullets that were stated in the applicant's presentation. I don't have that list in front of me, but the line items that the applicant agreed to in the presentation. And that concludes my motion.
We need to delineate what those are. If they're going to be conditions, we need to delineate what those are, if we can state that.
Let me pull that. Did we have that in the packet?
I think it's up there.
Yeah, that one right there,
Okay.
those 5 conditions.
Right.
Okay, motion had been made with conditions as stated, mitigating potential impacts of operation as stated as noted in the PowerPoint presentation. Do I need to state all of those, or we just need to print it off and include it? They have it with the conditions stated also. Motion been made. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. Motion carries. Again, ladies and gentlemen, these cases will move on to the Board of Commissioners meeting, which will take place on January 9th, which will take place right here for the commissioners to have the final approval on. No questions? We're moving on. Case. We're done with cases. We have some amendments. Amendment OA 23110001, amendment to the Walton County Land Development Ordinance per errata sheet dated 11/1/23. Errata number 1, do you want me to state that, or will you take care of these?
I'll do
Okay.
that, yeah. Errata number 1 is to amend Article 6, which is the part of the outdoor storage of commercial vehicles, to require direct access be off of an arterial road, and that all parking areas shall be paved, and prohibit idling vehicles in close proximity to single-family residents. So we already had these guidelines in the ordinance, so what we're adding is the direct access to an arterial road, that the areas are paved, and then rather than adjacent to a single-family dwelling, in close proximity, because those trucks idling, that's loud.
Mr. Sean, I had a quick, I was going to call you about, when we talk about close proximity, how close are we talking? I know it said within residence.
That's a good question.
I was going to say that may be something we need to
Yeah, we
delineate
probably
there
do
as
need
well.
Yeah.
to
Need
nail
to
that
set
down.
a set of footage.
Yeah.
Because I sure want to get something from about my house.
What do you think would be a fair, as far as, this is like for noise of the truck idling? Do you hear that at your house?
Oh, God.
And how far are you from it?
I mean, a
Which
football.
you would be considered adjacent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm not on arterial.
So
L.
this would be like if you're not adjacent to it,
A football field is 300 feet, so I mean, use that as a gauge there.
yeah.
500 feet or 1,000 feet, what would seem reasonable?
Because I contemplated that when I saw this, and I was like,
Well,
oh,
why don't we could change it to adjacent to or within 1,000 feet?
okay.
Okay.
That
So
sounds
we'll leave
reasonable.
adjacent to or within 1,000 feet. All right, that's good. Good point, thank you. Okay, let's see. Errata number 2 is to amend the land development ordinance to allow 1-acre lots in the A1 and A2 zone districts when public water is available. And also, it would amend Article 4, Part 2, Section 100, to allow 2400 overlay and OSC overlay developments by right in the A1, A2, and R1 zoning district. This is something that we have thought about for a while, this 1 acre lot. When zoning started in the county in 1973, if you had county water and septic, you could build on 30,000 square foot. So when I came to the county in 96, you had to have a 1 acre lot with county water and a septic. You had to have 2 acres if you have a well. The health department minimum for well and septic is just a little over an acre, like 51,000 square foot. So the ordinance changed sometime around 1999. We had some commissioners that proposed to change that, and it was voted on and approved. This would change it back to what it was for the first 20 years of zoning in Walton County, to allow a 1 acre lot in A1 and A2. The OSC being by right, currently, if your property is even zoned R1 and you wanted to do an OSC, you would have to come before this commission and the Board of Commissioners for an alteration to zoning. An OSC is a 1 acre density. I mean, you're not going to get less than a 1 acre density, and that means if you have 50 acres, you can only have 50 houses. The lots are smaller, but this also allows a set aside of 25% of the property as open space, so that the entire 50 acres is not built out. It, it really increases the chances of having buffers around the subdivision. Another thing that we looked at in this ordinance was to, right now, and I don't have that listed on here, Tracy, I need to fix that, but it's a part of the amendment, is that if your open space is in floodplain, you can only have half of it, half of the 25%. This would allow you to do a little bit more. And that just protects environmentally sensitive areas.
Right.
That's the whole reason for making it a by right option. Errata number 3 is amend the rural open ditch minor subdivision, which was really just put in place just a few years ago, and everything was required to have 2 acres. This would allow 1 acre lots where there's water, and we're adding a requirement that there be a mandatory HOA, homeowners association, for, guidelines within the developments. Errata number 4 is to amend the minimum lot size in areas where there is groundwater recharge to match what the EPD requirements are. Right now, it's all the groundwater recharge in Walton County is on the highest end of needing protecting, and this would increase the lot size to 32,670 square foot instead of the 25.5 that is allowed at this time. This is going above what the state actually requires. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Let me see if I have a question for you.
Sure.
I'm just seeing.
I have a question on the rural open ditch
Sure.
subdivision. So that is your road frontage lots, or is that a subdivision?
No, that is an internal street subdivision.
So it's
Okay.
one, okay.
Right. Yeah, and the reason it's called open ditch minor subdivision is that you don't have to, when you do that type of development, you don't have to have curb and gutter. But the houses are a little larger, and
So minor subdivision being
minor
based on the
subdivision.
number of homes in the neighborhood, or?
No, that's just the name of that. There's not a limit to the number of homes. The one that you're thinking about is called a public road subdivision.
Okay,
And that's when
yeah.
they split them off the county road.
That's what I was. Okay.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, you've heard the erratas present. We can do them all together.
If that's fine, if you,
Okay. Are there any more questions? At this time, I will bring it back for motion.
I make a motion that we approve errata 1, 2, 3, and 4 as submitted.
Motion have been made to accept. There was a change, an amendment in there on errata number
Number 1.
1.
It's actually in there in red. It's already in there, so that it's not something new. I just
Okay.
failed to put it on my little synopsis to be able to tell you guys. So, yeah, it was already in there as advertised
Okay.
for that, to allow more than 25% to be floodplain in the OSC.
I think they were
You're
talking
No,
talking
no,
about the
I was talking about the
1,000
one,
Oh,
errata.
yes, yes, adjacent to or within 1,000 foot.
Right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Did I get a second?
I second it.
All in favor, raise your hands, and aye.
Aye.
No opposed? Again, this will be moved on to the Board of Commissioners on, I can't remember the date on here, January 9th. Are there any public comments? Well, we won't meet again until January 9th, and I wish and hope and pray that everyone will have a joyous Christmas season with peace and harmony and a happy new year.
Amen.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion made,
Second.
properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.